Some of you may have noticed some changes in the most recent review. Some changes a little more drastic than others. Some just a little bit more slight and unnoticeable. But today I wanted to talk about changes of the, numerical variety. Oh my god, Ark is using numbers! Oh. Yes, I realize this is kind of a drastic change. So first I wanted to talk about, the actual system itself, and kind of explain to everybody what's going on there behind the scenes, and then I just want to talk about me using them in general. Now, the number system itself is actually not that complicated. You may have noticed that in the course of the review, being the most recent review, which I am very proud of, there were a set number of categories. There were 4 categories mentioned, being characters, story, animation, and sound. And then I have a 5th wildcard category that I all rank and give little numbers based on various baselines that I have and other shows that I've seen, and it all seems to work out very nice for me. I'm very happy with how this works out. And then I give all of these 5 categories, let me remind you again, characters, story, animation, sound, and enjoyment. All of these categories a number, add them all together, and divide it by 5, since there are 5 categories, and that gives me an average number. And that number usually is like 6.83. Ooh, that number's too precise. Do you really need to have decimals in there? Like, seriously, decimals? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do need to have decimals. I like decimals. I'm not going to go any farther than just the 2, because that, I believe, is overkill. But if you give 2 shows a 7, that means, these perfectly equal. No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So that's how the numbers come to be. Now, to explain me using numbers, you may have noticed that I've been around a while. I've been making reviews since 2009, and not once have I ever used numbers before. There was actually a few comments that I found hilarious when someone said, "You brought the numbers back?" Oh! And I'm just like, back? I've never used them. There are 2 reasons why I've never used numbers in the past. The first reason being is that I never really liked the concept of numbers in some people's reviews, and I just knocked my mic, so if that totally ends up showing up in the video, I apologize. But I never liked how numbers are done in written reviews, because if you go see a written review, if you go to ANN, you go to My Anime List or something, you have a look, you open up the review, and a lot of people, myself included, is guilty of this. Instead of reading the review, you just scroll down to the bottom and have a look at what the numbers are. And then you make your judgmental opinion on that, because everybody has, like, ADD now, and he's just like, oh, what's over here? Oh, what's over here? What's over here? What's over here? Ah, hoo, hee, ha, hoo. Just calm down. And the second reason is that I'd never had a system, or could come up with a system that I was happy with, because everybody's number systems are different. Some people rank their things out of 3. Some people have the ranks out of 4. Some people have a rank best out of 5. Some people go out of 10. Some people give a percentage out of 100. And some people have some really weird stuff when it comes to rating their whatever the hell they're doing. So, there's never been a real good standard. The closest standard is the worst way to use numbers ever. You may have seen this. A lot of video game publications use this, wherein anything that's below an 8 is, like, horrific. Like, you just don't give anything under 8. And then anything under a 7 is more like, oh hey, I'm gonna drive traffic to my website from all these people who could just not believe that I rated this thing a 7. Seriously? It's the school system's fault, really, because the school system has had us all thinking that 50 is bad. 50 is a fail. If you get a 50 in any mark in anything in school, you have failed, and you have to do it again. 50, when you're talking about rating something, is average. 50 is perfectly average. If you find me a perfectly average anime, I will probably rate it a 5. Now that's not bad. I will still probably watch a 5. I may not fully enjoy a 5, but I will still watch a 5. 5 is average. You go below 5, that's when you start getting to the stuff that's really crap. Closer and closer to, like, 1. And you're just like, blech. But then, above 5, you have certain levels of good. Of course, like, if you have something that's like a 9, or 9.8, or 10, which will probably never happen, those things are equally better. But 5 is your average. You can't make 75% your average, because then all that really matters in your number scale is 50 to 100. 75 is your average. Well, what are you going to do about the rest of the numbers? You will never use those numbers. So what's the point of having them? Which is why I was never happy with any rating system that I've attempted to come up with in the past. So when it came with dealing with these two problems that I had, I realized, well, first of all, my reviews aren't written. They are videos. So people scrolling down to the end doesn't really happen. Now, true, they could scrub through the video all the way to the end, just click the end and then just watch the final verdict, but if they really want to do that, I guess it's their choice. And then I have a rating system now, and I'm actually rather happy with this rating system. I was talking to Holden from Holden Reviews, and it's basically very similar to his, if not almost completely identical, mainly because he's got it right. So I chatted up with him for a bit, and we came up with a system that I was very happy with, and it's the system that I plan to use. Deal with it. Oh, but Ark, I liked it how you used to list pros and cons, not these silly numbers. This is what the rest of the review is for. So you can get the pros and cons out of each individual segment when I talk about them. Also, in the final verdict, I still say everything I've been saying regularly. No joke, I had the script written before I decided to throw a number into it. So basically the only thing that's changed is now instead of on screen having ... bad ... I just have a number. And instead of you reading the points, I tell them to you using my most wonderful of wonderful voices, dear people, which I'm sure some of you prefer. And it's not like I scrapped my old rating system, if you want to call it a rating system either. I still have the buy it, stream it, run the frick away rating that I like to give shows. That's still there. So basically, the numbers are there for the people that like numbers and the people that want to, like, compare one show to another that I review. That's basically what it's there for. You can completely ignore the number, and basically the review is exactly the same. I just don't have the points listed there. And, you know, listen to what I say. And there's your points. Right there. It shouldn't be too hard, but I know some people don't like change, so this might be a little difficult for them. And to that I apologize, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay? Sorry. Of course, this brings some obvious questions that people were probably going to wonder about, which is, for example, now that you've given a number, so we have a number of how you think of another, are you going to go back and give your old reviews numbers? No. Why is this, you may ask? Quite frankly, because some of my old reviews, again, I've been doing this since 2009. I've been doing this a while. So to go back, like if I was to go back, and let's say I was going to give a number to Eden of the East, one of my first reviews. I haven't seen Eden of the East in like 2 years. I don't think I have the right to give numbers based on characters, story, animation, sound, based on 2-year-old memories. Now, if I was to ever rewatch it anytime soon, I would probably give numbers to it, and then I'd just keep track of them. But would I remake the video to add numbers to them? Probably not. So yeah, if I already reviewed something and I never put a number to it, you will probably never see a number given to it from me. Now, another question someone may ask is, will you ever give anything a 10? No. That's the thing about rating systems that I find hilarious, is the people that give perfect scores to something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a movie, if it's a musical album, if it's an anime, if it's a video game. A perfect score is just that. It's perfect. There are absolutely no flaws anywhere. Anywhere. I have yet to watch an anime that deserves a perfect score. There have some that have come close. I really like these shows, but I have yet to see a show that deserves a perfect score. So no, I will not be giving things 10s. And if it ever happens, well, you probably want to watch it. Just gonna be honest there, but no, I will get close to 10 probably with some things that I'm gonna end up reviewing, but I will not actually hit 10. The last question I want to address is something someone's actually commented previously. And it's just like, I don't like numbers because of review inflation. Now, what does review inflation mean? It means it's like, how to explain. It means if I was doing reviews like this back in 1995, back around the time when Gundam Wing came out, and if for whatever reason I gave the animation of Gundam Wing a 10 because I thought it was brilliant, okay? Now you jump ahead to present day, you go and rewatch Gundam Wing's animation. For its time, it's really good. But if you compare it to things that come out now, it's not a 10. So that's something that people worry about. And I do admit they have a point. But animation is like the only category where review inflation would ever happen. And right now, I think my baseline for animation is fairly good. My baseline in animation, if you want to know, is Redline. If you haven't seen Redline, you should go see Redline. Because that thing looks freaking amazing. Yeah, that's kind of my baseline for animation. Will it be surpassed? Probably, but currently that's like the highest animation number I would give is to Redline. That's animation. Let's have a look at the other categories. Story. People have been writing stories and rating stories for years. It all depends on its own little entertainment value. It's not going to change too much. Same with music. Music has been around forever. Characters have been around just as long as stories have. That shouldn't be a problem. Enjoyment. Enjoyment might be the only thing that slightly degrades or increases, depending on rewatch value. And that's the other thing, is all rewatch value. But if I'm going to give you a rating, I don't really think I need to worry about rewatch value, because I'm going to go under the assumption you're only going to watch the show once, if that. So why does it matter if I give it a high number because of rewatch value? It shouldn't. So animation is really the only one that I would ever worry about for inflation, and even then, there's limits to how far animation can go, and I have yet to see any example that it'll go very far surpass what it already has. You can have different variations, but we're pretty close to hitting a peak, I think, for now, until some new technologies arise, or everything becomes like 3D and you have like holodecks and crap, and that would be something special. So yeah, TLDR version. The numbers are here to stay. I hope you enjoy them, because if you don't, well, it's been nice knowing you. They're going to be here for a while. I don't see why you can't just ignore them, since everything else is going to be here, but if you can't, I feel sorry to lose you. See you. And for the rest of you, I hope you enjoy the numbers, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the revamped glass reflection reviewing style. That will continue to change. I didn't just create a set template and now that's what I'm going to be using. There will be slight variations here and there, but I think most of the major changes have already occurred for now. And yeah, I'm going to stop recording this. I'm going to go edit this vlog, put it up on the interwebs, and then I got to finish writing the next review. Hope you like it. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty. Oh my god!